Hi, gorgeous lights. Oh my gosh. I've been monitoring the energy over the entire course of the day, and it's just been incredible to watch it expanding. So I asked Spirit and I said, why is the energy expanding? And they said, so within, so without. And I'm like, great. So we're trying to push ourselves beyond limitations right at the moment. And they said, yes. Some of you are staying in relationships that are very limiting and are not letting you expand the way that you should be. Some of you are staying in roles that you're not expanding the way that you actually should be. Some of you are in mindsets where you're not expanding the way that you're actually supposed to be. So what we're actually doing after 3 years of complacency, if you like, or a generation, beg your pardon, or generating an energy that is basically apathetic or waiting to see what's going to happen, then we're actually utilising people all the way around you to actually push and shove to make sure that you actually look at what is actually truthfully important in your life. So I actually really am fascinated by what's actually happening. So they had actually said a couple of weeks ago that we'd be taught resilience, perseverance, showing the truth of ourselves, all of these things that would actually come into play. And it's incredible to watch how much this energy is actually amping up. There is benefits to it. There's an amazing amount of benefits. We do know as human beings, we do not like to move forward into uncertainty. We like complacency, we like control, we like knowing what's going to happen. And so we can really balk at coming out of comfort zones as well. But I think when we're sitting in a comfort zone, are you truly being truthful to yourself about where your needs are being fulfilled, or do you love what you're doing, or do you love your life? All of those things that actually are supposed to come into play during the human life. And I do think post-pandemic that we have a lot of fear, and we have a lot of people really not pushing to basically say, my life is really important to me, it's the only life that I've got. How am I navigating forward in what I'm creating? So the universe in its infinite wisdom will do exactly what it actually needs to do, which is actually highlight all the areas that actually are holding us back from moving forward. Now, one of these areas in particular is to do with entering the age of Aquarius and unity. And I might have mentioned this in the previous video, but you have to, in order to be unified with another person, then you have to come into the law of allowability, which just says that that person is allowed to be exactly the way that they are, because you are allowed to be exactly the way that you are. So we talk a lot about people go, well, what's unconditional love and what's love on the planet? Well, I think there's a myriad of different varieties of love that you can have on the planet. You can love for your pets, your horse, people, your fish, whatever. You can have all these varieties of love. And I do think that we are supposed to be bringing all these varieties to the fore, but we're actually heading towards learning within ourselves unconditional love, because unconditional love isn't really just love, it's just acceptance. It's just complete acceptance. That is a definition of unconditional love. I accept you in your entirety and I love you for that. Nothing else. There's no expectations, there's no demands, there's no potential seeking, there's no you should be like this because I like you to be like this, because it's only wanting somebody else to be like that from your perspective. So there's a lot going on the planet right at the moment as well. So when I talk to Spirit about these things, I always get endlessly fascinated, because we are down here for evolution. And if evolution is unity with others, then we have to start with ourselves. I mentioned it in the other video. You have to start with yourself. So I do think, we can be going, what's next? Well, that's that part of your brain here that's geared towards negativity. But in reality, we evolve through change. We do not evolve through stagnancy or apathy or creating things so that they're safe. You're not going to grow an experience. And I have to say, I absolutely love people. I love working with people. I love what these guys have got to say. But the amount of people that I see that say that they're really bored with their life. You have approximately 4,000 weeks, 76.6 years to be on the earth plane, and you're bored with your life. I keep saying to people, look, I see people every single day on the other side that would just love to have moments back here. And I think we're losing our appreciation and our gratitude for the life that we've actually got and what you're actually creating. So the push-pull that's going on the planet at the moment is actually highlighting a whole lot of illusional areas of life, whether it's an illusion that, you know, that ministries are supposed to look after us, or parliament's supposed to look after us, or leaders are supposed to look after us. A lot of illusions are under investigation right at the moment and going, does this truthfully serve you? So when things like that happen, or we're in frustration that that organisation isn't doing what we want, then we do take our frustrations into ourselves. When you take it into yourself, you then sit in a sense of frustration constantly, and then you forward it out to other people that you actually come across. So we have a very complex frustration at relationship level, because of course you have a relationship with your mortgage, you have a relationship with the bank, you have a relationship with just about everything that's on the planet right at the moment. I'm not surprised that a lot of things in this energy are combusting, or at least forcing us into curiosity that says, does this 100% serve me? There's certainly going to be a huge amount of changes coming up in the next 5 to 6 months about the way you view things from your perspective as you change. Because the more into alignment you come and you evolve, the less tolerant you will be for things that insult your soul. And I do believe that this is a really good thing, and I understand the method to the madness. The suggestion from upstairs is these playouts are happening to educate you that things don't serve you anymore. And it might be at this scale, it might be a relationship, it might be a work colleague or whatever. It's still happening to get you to evaluate what kind of relationships that you do want to have. Each of us down here has to do the work. We're part of the collective consciousness. In order for the collective consciousness vibration to rise, then we need to do this investigated stuff. If we're going to wander around going, that person was really offensive to me and I didn't like what they actually said and I can't accept that, and all of those sort of things, well, sure, you've got to have some boundaries. But at the end of the day, we've also got to do some work on ourselves that actually says, if we're working through it together, how do I want to turn up? How do I want to turn up so that I bring the respect to myself about what I actually need? We're on a planet of communication. Spirit says that we don't communicate. We communicate to be heard. We do not communicate what we actually feel, and we quite often communicate what we actually think the other person actually wants to hear instead of the truth of how we actually feel about something. So yes, it's intense energy, and yes, this is a second video that I'm putting up about it. But you need to be aware the impact on you, and you need to be aware that this is not going away anytime soon. This is a massive, massive opportunity for us to actually upscale and start looking about how we're turning up, the truthfulness of how we're turning up, the order of how we're turning it up, and whether it's in our best interest. Start with you. It's the best place to start, but don't look for the negative in it. For every bit of growth, you're expanding, going beyond limitations, thinking about things differently. I've had some beautiful people just go, do you know what, this life that I thought that was really conventional that I wanted, I don't want it anymore, and they have packed up and gone on an adventure. The energy is all about adventures right at the moment. Do you look at your life as an adventure? Do you look at what you're doing as an adventure? Most of the time, if you're trying to make it the same, you're going to get bored with it. You're not designed to do that when you're down here. This is, they're playing the song Life is a Highway. I want to ride it all night long. It is about deciding what you want to do. Do that.